God spoke to me and told me to cleanse my chakras. Let me see. He said to open up my chakras. That's what he said. Um, I did not think that that was the Lord speaking to me at first. When I first heard that, I was unfamiliar, completely unfamiliar with chakras, what they are, and how they affect our lives, all that. And I was just a basic Christian, like not wanting to get into anything that might be occult or satanic. So, chakras was unfamiliar to me completely. And that's why I was thinking maybe that wasn't the Lord speaking to me. Um, and so because I wasn't sure, I did not immediately do it. I didn't immediately pursue it. But then later on, I'm going to read a little bit from my journal. This morning, as I was lying in bed, not wanting to wake up, chakras came to mind. God had told me to open up my chakras a while ago. At that time, I wasn't sure if that was God speaking to me, so I didn't do it. I looked into what are chakras and I wasn't sure if it was good or bad, so I left it alone. Now that I have been hearing God's voice more often, when I remembered it, it was the voice of God, so I will get started today. Okay, so that was journal entry um, from a little while ago. So, anyway, when I learned about what chakras are, that they are the energy centers for your body, um, and where they are the energy centers for your body, where energy can flow through you, where energy flows through you, and when your chakras are blocked by things like emotional pain or guilt, shame, fear, different things like that, lies that we tell ourselves. Those are the types of things that block your chakras, that block energy from flowing through your body. And specifically, I believe that it's for energy from heaven to flow through you. We are spirit beings. We have a body, we have a soul, we have a mind, um, and we have a spirit that came from heaven, and it's going to hopefully go back to heaven when we finish with this mortal experience. And really, I believe that as a child of God, as a citizen of heaven, I am a walking, my spirit is a walking antenna for God to send messages or downloads or power from heaven to the earth. And he uses me, he uses you if you let him. Um, and so chakras, those energy centers in our body, that have to do with survival or pleasure or love or things like that, If they're all blocked up, you can't hear from God, basically. And how many of us are so emotionally constipated that we can't even hear each other? We can't even, how many of you can't even hear your spouse when they're trying to communicate with you? You can't, they can't go deeper than the weather or some superficial conversation with you because you're so fragile. You're so emotionally fragile. You can't handle a authentic or a conversation where you show up honestly and and address the fears or the inconsistencies in your own heart. How many of you aren't even capable at this point in your life right now of being vulnerable with your spouse that has vowed to love you for the rest of their life? They knit their life to yours. Y'all share your finances, you share your ups, you share your downs, you share hurts and pains when other family members go through things, you share children, you completely open up your life to this person, and yet you can't be vulnerable or authentic with this person that has chosen you. You can't choose your mother, you can't choose your father, you can't choose your kids, but the only family member you can choose is your spouse, and they chose you, and you can't even be real with them. And so if we can't be real with the people that are closest to us, and many of us, we can't even be real with ourselves, we can't be real with God. And why is that? Because these energy centers throughout our bodies, throughout our souls, basically, are clogged. They're dirtied up. They're contaminated with guilt. They're contaminated with shame. They're contaminated with, unforgiveness. They're contaminated with uh, lies that we tell ourselves and all kinds of things like that. So that is what the chakras are. And those are some of the examples of what blocks our chakras. Okay, that is a very, very simplified explanation. But the information is out there. If you seek it, if you want it, you have a computer right in your hands, right? How are you listening to me? Just Google it, find it, educate yourself, okay? Anyway, so I found out what the chakras were, and then I still had a dilemma. I didn't know how to cleanse them. So as I did my research and found what they were, what blocks them, all those kinds of things, I did not know, had no clue how to directly cleanse or open them up, how to open up my chakras. And God is so beautiful and amazing. He set up some cheat codes for me. So, through meditating and spending time with God through prayer and through meditation, God had someone. Oh, it's thundering where I am. I don't know if y'all are picking that up or not, but that's what that rumbling is. It's thundering. Anyway, so God set it up for an artist to create um, a whole thing, a form of a body of art that would walk me through clearing, how to clear my chakras, exactly how to do it. And I went to what he said, where he said it was, and boom, everything I needed to know was right there. So I did it. I I made up a guided meditation for myself to relax my mind, and then I mean relax my body, and then relax my mind, and then clear or open up all 7 chakras, right? So I made the guided meditation, and then I proceeded to do it. And wow, when I tell you that this has been the utmost, most productive therapeutic tool that I have experienced, um, God has taken me on a whole journey of emotional healing, of compound, complex trauma that I have experienced over and over and over again throughout my whole life. Uh, and so it was, God started me out like where I was. So the first time I got therapy was with a psychiatrist and a psychologist, and I didn't receive that. It didn't go well, and I knew that God could heal me. So I prayed and cried out to God, and I told him that, Lord, I know you can heal my mind. And when I'm healed, I want to give you all the glory. I don't want to have to say that some doctor did it. I know you can heal me. And um, so God led me to group therapy. I did that for some years, and that was a very effective tool. But really, it just helped me to understand that going and actively healing wounds in my subconscious, in my, emotional wounds is actual, it's really noble, because not everybody will value themselves and the people that they say that they love in their lives. They don't value those relationships enough to go within and dig out, get rid of, identify all the contaminations left by the enemy in their hearts and in their minds, all the damage and stuff. Um, they don't love themselves or their relatives or people in their lives enough to go in there and do that hard work of identifying all the bad and getting it out of there, cleaning it out of there, and then working, replacing it with healthy frames of mind and healthy thinking and healthy behaviors, to develop healthy habits and things like that. Like, they don't love themselves or the people in their lives enough to do that, so that they can present their wives or their husbands or their children or their parents or their friends with the best version of themselves. So for me, when I started the journey of healing, I discovered that this was an extremely noble thing to do, to invest in healing your heart and your mind from everything that life has put on you that wasn't good, and so that you're not just carrying that pain and then hurting other people throughout your life, right? So that was a good thing that came from going to group therapy. The group therapy that I used to go to was called Overcomers. That was the umbrella for all the other little subgroups underneath there, like stress and grief, or Overeaters Anonymous, or Self Matters, or Healthy Relationships. They had a ton of groups, that you could just go to for however many months it took. And they would be locked groups where once they filled up, that was it. And you all took that journey together. And it was a safe place where nobody was talking about everybody else's stuff and all that kind of stuff, right? So it was a very good experience in that, but it wasn't enough because I would go through Overcomers and I was constantly going to the groups and things like that until I graduated from pretty much all of them. And then God wanted me to be a facilitator, which that would have continued, my healing journey, because once you're strong enough to sustain yourself, then helping other people to get their healing is a next phase, of your own personal graduation and healing, right? Um, so did that for a while, but then I noticed that as I moved on, because I moved out of state and stuff, as I moved on, as time went on, those problematic behaviors that were born out of trauma, they persisted. Because the triggers, the subconscious, those triggers would still get activated, right? And through the group therapy and stuff like that, it's really working with your conscious brain. Like, you have to be awake to learn this stuff. You're using your conscious mind to get this stuff in you. You're practicing it. You might be doing mirror work. You're looking at yourself in the mirror. You're speaking affirmations and good things over to yourself, and you're looking yourself in the eye, and you might do that thousands of times or whatever, but none of that work is reaching into your subconscious mind where the trauma is embedded. So that was a problem, because the stuff it would keep coming up, even though it was, infrequent as it was, it still had a tendency to come up, and I was constantly feeling like I thought I dealt with this, right? So then later on, God led me to the work of a wonderful neurologist who teaches people how to reprogram their subconscious mind. He focuses on the subconscious mind, and I learned from this man. I think, what's his name? Dr. Bruce Lipton. Wonderful, wonderful man. He does great work, and I listened to what he said. I followed his directions, and it worked wonderfully for me. Anyway, Dr. Bruce explained how the subconscious mind functions like 40 million times faster than your conscious brain. Your subconscious brain basically functions at the speed of like lightning, whereas your conscious brain, it functions in real time, like, as something is happening, it's, your subconscious mind is taking it in at that speed, and it thinks, at that speed, whatever. And so he talked about like how to reprogram your subconscious mind and get those negative recordings that tend to play or replay at the most inopportune times as trigger responses a lot of times. And you act out of these triggered emotions because somebody said something that took you all the way back to a situation that happened to you when you were 8 years old or 4 years old, or somebody did something cruel to you or said something cruel to you at that young age, and now something in the present has taken you all the way back to that, and you are instantly thrown back into feeling like the child that you were at the time of the incident, and you react as a child because you've instantly been put right back into that space, and you're trapped there, right? That part of you is trapped there. And so the work of Dr. Bruce was to, the work of Dr. Bruce is to basically clear all that out. I call it contamination of the devil. I call it contamination of the enemy, like the fingerprints of the enemy that shaped those memories, that planted those seeds of fear, of unforgiveness or bitterness or shame or guilt or arrogance or whatever it was that the enemy planted in you, in your subconscious mind, so that for the rest of your life, the plan was for the rest of your life that you would always behave like that and never get away from that behavior. And then you would be effectively self-sabotaging, right? Whenever you got into some kind of situation where you could move past that, no, the enemy wants to take you right back to that childhood state with that childhood mentality and get you to react out of that immature space. Okay? Okay. So, Dr. Bruce does great work to help us get rid of that kind of stuff. So, I learned through Dr. Bruce Lipton that to reprogram your subconscious mind, your subconscious mind doesn't sleep. Your conscious mind sleeps, right? When you go to bed, everything shuts down. You're at peace. You close your eyes. Next thing you know, when you open your eyes, you might feel like you just closed your eyes, but it's morning time. You have slept, right? Your conscious mind has slept. Well, excuse me. Well, the subconscious mind does not sleep. That's the reason why while you're sleeping, if there's a strange noise in your house, you automatically wake up. But the regular noises in your house, your dog moving around, your cat moving around, the train that is, going through your neighborhood at 3 o'clock in the morning or whatever, none of those things will wake you up. But as soon as there is a strange noise that you've not ever heard before, it's not normal to you at all, you'll wake up. That's because your subconscious mind is very much alert. It's very much active. It is very much awake. Okay? So Dr. Bruce's work, what he was saying is to reprogram your subconscious mind is basically you make a recording of all of the things that you need to hear to undo those things that were planted in you as a child. Like, I'll give you an example. I felt unwanted, unloved. I felt like a piece of trash. My father, when I was 16 years old, signed for me to marry a man to get me out of his house because his wife didn't want his daughters, right? She just wanted her son, and my dad. And so every time one of us turned 16 years old, and made a 16-year-old mistake, she would act like the world was ending and that we're just such horrible, horrible children that we need to be thrown out with no exit strategy, nowhere to go. Would call all our aunts and uncles and say, "Don't take us in," and yeah, death to his teenage girls, right? So anyway, um, I felt like a piece of trash because the day before my father signed the documents for me to marry this grown man, I found a letter from my stepmother saying, "Oh, I love you so much, and our marriage is so wonderful, and it's so beautiful, and this and that and the other. It's such a fantasy, but oh, Brandy is such a problem, and she puts a monkey wrench in all of our relationship, and our relationship is so great except her." And basically, get down to the end. Wow, that was some amazing thunder. Hi, Jesus. Anyway, basically get down to the end, and she says, if Brandy is not gone by January, then I'm leaving. And so I stood there while my father was signing this legal document for me to marry a grown man at 16 years old. And the things that he said, like the reasons why he was signing it and telling me I had to go, was exactly the same things from her letter. You throw a monkey wrench in this family and blah blah blah, all this dumb stuff, right? So that was an extremely traumatic, defining moment for me. And for years, I felt my father treated me like trash because at 16 years old, he threw me to the wolves. So, like, to address that, I might say, I think I might have said something like, "You were born perfect. You came into this earth as a an innocent, perfect little baby, and there was absolutely nothing wrong with you. It's just your parents didn't know how to treat you. They didn't know how to treat themselves, and that's not your fault. You are good. You have always been good. And anyone that can't see that, there's something wrong with them. And that's not your fault. You are lovable. You are good. Your heart is so good." I basically, like, things like that. Do you understand what I'm saying? And so there were plenty of things that I needed to address because, like I said, I have been dealing with compound complex trauma, um, or living with it my whole life. And so that I made these recordings, like Dr. Bruce said, and at first it was like the first recording, like I wrote down all of the statements of affirmation that suited me, and I didn't know how to do it, so I looked for help with authors like Louise Hay. She does great work as affirmations work. She does like mirroring and things like that. But she has books where she's got just pages, loads and loads of positive um, reinforcements and affirmations to say to yourself to undo trauma. And so, where she teaches you to get in the mirror and say these things to yourself, I just took those and recorded them. And, you know, There are Bible scriptures that worked really, really good. God says, let the weak say that I am strong, you know, things like that, all that kind of stuff. So I put together my little compilation of affirmations and then recorded it. And the first recordings that I did, some of them might have been an hour, some of them might have been half an hour, some of them. And then as I continued to do it, they would get longer and longer and longer. But even when they were short, what I would do is record it in such a way that I could play it on repeat, and it would be repeating. And so the next phase, after you record all of that stuff, you just put some earbuds in your ear and you you play it, you let it play while you're sleeping, right? And so I would put it on repeat if it was a short one. If it was only like 2 hours or something like that, I would put it on repeat. And so it would play all night long as my subconscious mind is going through the different stages of relaxation and sleep, going through the delta phase and the theta phase and all these kinds of things, different levels of consciousness. I'm planting these good, healthy affirmations in my subconscious brain. And so I did that. I did that work for like 6 months or so to a year. I did it like every single night. And I would change them. Like as things would come up that I realized I needed to deal with, I would do a new recording. And so for like a year or two, I was doing that, or a few years. Then God led me to Marissa Peer and Jose Silva through Mind Valley. And Jose Silva teaches you how a method to control your mind. There's a lot of people that think you can't control your thoughts, and that's simply not true. If you're not running your mind, something else is, right? And so we don't want anything else running our mind. So I started learning how to meditate with the Jose Silva um, mind control method, training your mind, basically taking your mind to extremely advanced levels to the point where you can heal yourself, you can heal other people with your mind. He has an amazing body of work. But basically taking you to this transcendent state, of higher higher state of consciousness, um, for the good of other people, not just for yourself. But then also, Marissa Peer does this rapid transformational therapy, which is just pure gold. It is just, my goodness, it is effective. So Marissa Peer does this rapid transformational therapy, and she does it's a combination of the reprogramming of the subconscious mind and meditation. So it's a fusion. To me, that's what I think. It's a fusion of these different things, right? And so she has this brand of self hypnosis where you reprogram your subconscious mind so that it doesn't take you years to transform yourself, to change, to go from damaged and hurting and just bleeding out to healed and self actualized, like to be able to actually get closer to your ideal self, and if not, achieve becoming your ideal self, right? So this again is the healing journey that God was taking me on and introducing me to all these different healing uh, methods that I could use to close the door on my past, because that's not who I am anymore. I'm not that child. I'm not that vulnerable, innocent child anymore. So do all of that, and then here God tells me to open up my chakras. So it has been quite a journey, all of the time and things that I've done to go from that place of brokenness to where God has brought me to now. And He's used many different vehicles, and I had to cooperate. I had to be willing to do those things that He wanted me to do. The therapies and the self hypnosis and the subconscious work and the meditation and all those things. Like when God would put these things before me, He would bring it to my attention. I had to be willing to investigate. I had to be willing to do research. I had to be willing to do it and partake of it, right? Because you can lead a horse to water, but you can't force him to drink. And we all have our own agency. I, we choose whether or not we're going to obey God, right? We have the choice to obey or not. But the only thing about that is you could choose not to obey, but you can't, you don't get to choose the consequences, you know? And when those consequences come because of disobedience or bad choices or ignoring the voice of God, it's too late. It's too late. And you're gonna, whatever it is, you're gonna eat it, and I don't, I don't, I don't want that smoke. I don't want that. I like reaping the benefits of good choices. I love it when I choose to obey God and I get the rewards, even if it's a kiss on the top of my head from God. That is so much better than consequences, of bad choices. So anyway, I actively continue to choose God and to keep doing the things that He was instructing me to do. And I noticed that I was getting better and better and better all the time. Like I got addicted to getting better and healing because I really thought that there was no way out of that suffering, all that emotional torment and emotional pain, and the flashbacks and all those things, those recordings that would play back, the hurtful, painful incidents that would play back in my mind. That was torture. I was in an emotional prison, right? And that it was keeping me from trusting people. It was keeping me from accepting love. It was keeping me from being able to even recognize love. It was keeping me from receiving love. It was keeping me from love. And no, 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 that's unacceptable. Because if I can't receive love, if I can't process love, how can I possibly show it? How can I show it to my children? How can I show it to the people that I love or that I say I love? Or how can I show that to the people that I want to love? Because if you don't know how to love, if you don't know what love is, then you're walking around. You might be married and you want to love your wife, but you don't, because you don't know what love is. You don't know how to receive it. You don't know how to give it. Nothing about you is genuine. If you don't know what love is, there's no way for you to give genuine love. You know, there's a lot of people handing out manipulation and calling it love. Well, I pay all of these bills and I pay for all of this. So, doesn't it tell you I love you? No, jerk. Prisoners in prison get everything paid for. They got a roof over their head, they have clothes on their back, and they get some kind of mush put in front of them, calling it food. So they got food on the table. They're in prison, you know? And if what you call love is not better than that, yeah, you want to love the people in your life that you say you love, but you don't, because you don't know what love is. You can't give something away if you don't have it. So anyway, so now I'm at this point, and God told me to clear my chakras. Now, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear, right? So at every stage of where I was, God put before me what was available to me and what I could handle at that time. So it started with the group therapy, and then it went to, um, other forms of counseling, and then it went to the subconscious therapy, and then it went to the training my mind with the mind control and the rapid transformational therapy, and now I'm at the chakras. And so the chakra cleansing is so very, very, very effective. And it took me all these years and years and years and years to learn this stuff. But honestly, my friend, if I were you and I was starting from scratch with trying to heal my heart and soul and mind, I would start with the chakras. For real. You know, as I do the chakra work, I know that I'm safe. I know that I'm safe, and I know that I can look at these memories and these incidences and these things, these defining moments from my life. I can look at it as if like I am watching a movie, you know, like I'm sitting in the theater and it's playing on a movie screen. But what I'm watching on the movie screen, it's not me. Not anymore. That stuff is not still happening to me. That stuff it's gone. It's in the past. It can't be relived. I'll never be that age ever again. I'll never be that in that time and space ever again with whatever it is that happened, right? So I know that I can safely look back on these occurrences, and it's sad to watch. Some of it is sad to watch, some of it is painful to watch, and it hurts. But I am grounded in the fact that I'm safe now. It's not happening to me now. That could never happen to me now. Not with what I know now. And so I go back and and the chakras, the chakra cleansing exercise causes you to really identify what has stunted your growth emotionally and what has you all blocked up and backed up and emotionally constipated. Then after it has you to identify these things, because so many of us are walking around carrying trauma that is affecting our relationships presently, and we don't even know where it's from. We can't even pinpoint, what it was and how, and we definitely can't identify how it plays out and presents itself now through aggression or intolerance or frustration or anger or fear or whatever, right? We don't know why we are so jacked up emotionally, right? But there are certain behaviors that just seem to persist with us, and we don't know why. You might just think, "Oh, I'm just like that," "Oh, I've always been like that," or "They always do that," right? Okay, not realizing that these are just trigger responses, and if you get rid of that trigger, you won't have that response. Anywho, and much of this work, I just want to say this, like especially with the rapid transformational therapy and the Silva mind control method, but more emphasis on the RTT therapy by Marissa Peer. I would do those meditations and self hypnosis that she walks you through, the guided meditations that she walks you through. I did them every day. Like I would just wake up in the morning and put it in and do it, listen to it. It's only like, 15, 20 minutes, whichever one I'm listening to. And then at night, I would, before I go to bed, uh, plug in again, put my Bluetooth in again and listen to it again for 30 days. And I did not notice a difference, but the people around me noticed a difference because I wasn't trying. I wasn't even thinking about not doing this or not doing that or whatever, right? I was just going about my day, being myself. And then the next thing you know, the people around me start telling me, Brandy, you've changed. And I'll be like, what do you mean? What you mean I changed? I noticed a difference in you. Like, you used to pop off at, soon as somebody would say this or if that would happen, you would go right in and just, hi just bite a chunk of their neck out. You know what I mean? Like, uh, I was very, very, I'm real quick on the draw. It's just a, defense because I just felt so vulnerable and insecure for so long, and I felt like I had to defend myself. But anyway, yeah, the people that were around me started noticing big time that the buttons that they used to be able to push, they it wasn't working anymore. If they wanted to get me to act like this, all they had to do was say that, it didn't work anymore. And I wasn't even trying. And see, that's the magic of Marissa Peer, her RTT therapy. When I tell you this stuff is some phenomenal work. It is a phenomenal body of work. Okay. Um, and I do not recommend any of these things lightly. And this is not a paid promotion for any of these things. These are just the vehicles, the tools that God has given me so that I could heal uh, my very, very damaged mind. God told me that I was crippled in my mind, right? And so, and God also explained to me that it takes the spiritual and the natural working in tandem. Yes, you pray. Yes, you bind those demons and you command them to go asunder and you invoke the spiritual, the word of God. Luke chapter 10, verse 19. Behold, I have given you authority to trample on serpents and scorpions and over all of the powers of the enemy, and nothing shall by any means harm you. You command those spirits to get out of you, get out of your life, get out of your house, get out of your kids, all that stuff. But then You still have to do the work that in the natural, because you are a spirit and you have a body and you have a mind. You have a eternal component within you. That is your spirit, right? And your soul. But then you have mortal components, which is also uh your mind and your body. So it takes, you have to cater to all of who you are. If you're going to get healed, you can't just go to church and pray uh the 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 trauma away. You could pray the demon away, but that demon left some filthy, contaminated thinking, that it trained you to think like that while it had access to you, while it was in you. It was it was training you to think with those contaminated thoughts. And how do you get that spiritual yuck out of you, right? Okay, so it takes the spirit working in tandem with the natural for you to get complete deliverance, okay? For you to get complete healing, right? So you do not neglect the therapy. You don't neglect the the subconscious work that needs to happen to get rid of those triggers. You don't neglect learning what good, healthy behaviors are, what healthy love looks like. You have to learn all those things. And that is natural work, right? Okay. So, I still continue to do the RTT therapy. Sometimes I need it, And Marissa, she addresses so many different areas of your life. I still uh, employ the Silva mind control exercises. And I'm still learning with that, because that man trains you how to hone your intuition and your mind control so good that you actually develop ESP. You actually just, it's amazing work that he has done. And I believe that God taught him that, and he shared his gift with the world. Um, and I still continue to do the chakra cleansing. Like, I'm at this point where when certain things come up, I know what it is, and so I know what I need to address it, right? So that's where I am with it. And so, like with the chakra clearing, that's not a one and done. I like to naturally let my mind deal with whatever comes up when I'm in the moment and I do the chakra cleansing. Um, and so I don't try to force it in any kind of way. I just, everything is relaxed. My body is relaxed. My mind is relaxed. And, and I just let things as they come up, it gets gets dealt with. But I continue to do the chakra cleansing, because as I do it, you know, I'll get to certain chakras where it's clear, it's open, nothing there. I don't feel guilty about, anything. I don't feel shame about anything. Like, all of that stuff has been let go, right? But I there might be fears that I have that haven't been dealt with yet, and it'll continue to come up. So I just continue to do the chakra cleansing, when I feel it's necessary. And so I'm just giving you all of that. So hopefully something that I said will help you on your journey. I the chakra cleansing meditation that I spoke about, it is on my channel. It is under the playlist Meditate. It's the first one there. It's available for you if you want to do it. I encourage you, have at it. Um, in the description, you will find a link to my Patreon, which it's just $1.11, and you'll have full access to God's 30-day life-changing challenge. God gave me a challenge to do these certain things for 30 days, do it once a day for 30 days, and see how He would bless my life. You can read all about the benefits that I experienced from taking God at His word, accepting His challenge, and then doing it for 30 days. And you can find that on my Patreon. Like I said, the link is in the description. But yeah, I just wanted to share that with you. And I hope that this helps you. And I hope that one day you can give love, good love, pure love, and receive love, you know, because love is real, it's available. There are plenty of genuine, authentic people in this world. But if you don't know what real love is, you will pass them by. And then you'll complain talking about love is a fairy tale. And it's not. You are made of love. It's the love of God that made you. The very same atoms and elements that stars in the galaxy are made of, they're the same elements and atoms that you're made of. Just like the stars in heaven are children of God, created by the hand of God, you are a child of God, created by God Almighty Himself. You are a holy child of God because your Father is holy. Your Father, our Father in heaven, is holy. Now, I know you might have been mishandled just like I was. But you know, this life, it comes with free choice. We don't have to listen to God. We don't have to believe in God. And some of our parents and some of our caretakers, they didn't really know God. They might have said that they did, but they didn't really know Him. And the enemy was able to use them to hurt you. Just like the enemy was able to use my parents and relatives, sisters and brothers to hurt me. The enemy doesn't fight fair. The devil don't fight fair. He'll use anybody. And so don't blame them. Don't blame anybody. Just fix it. Because now you're in charge of you. Your parents, they don't have authority over your life anymore. You are a grown human being. And so you can decide if you want to live the rest of your life healthy and happy and whole, with an abundance of love, an abundance of health, an abundance of wealth, an abundance of joy. You can have that. You can have it. You can have it all. Whoever said that you can't, they're a liar. Who are they? Who cares what they think? There are plenty of people that are living beautiful, wonderful lives, and they have beautiful, wonderful relationships, and they have wonderful health and finances to 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 take care of it all. And you can have that too. God wants that for you. God wants that to you. God wants that for you. He said that he will prosper you and bless you. God's word, that's a promise from God. That is his desire, the desire of his heart for your life. You know? And if you pursue that, if you pursue that, it ain't going to hurt you. What, if you pursue that, how would that take away from you? Even if you want, somebody wants to tell you, oh, that's a pipe dream. That can never happen. Well, what a dream. And what is life without a dream? What is life without hope? You might be living without hope right now. Does it feel good to you? So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and leave it right there. God really loves you. God really is real. And God can lead you out of the darkness. God is a light for our path. And he really doesn't want us living in darkness. But we have to agree with God, and we have to collaborate with God to get out of the miry muck and into the marvelous light. All right. God bless you. I wish you all the best, okay? Everything good that this life has to offer. I hope you get you some.